Exterior waterfall day. Pete and Wendy emerge from the tunnel near the base of the giant waterfall. They let the water flow over them. They walk over to the edge of the waterfall. The view is amazing. Far below, the grinner paces the entrance to the cave, then finally gives up and creeps back into the forest. Wendy looks up at the sky.
Man, Smee, told us to hide.
That means they'll come for us.
As if on cue, a new contrail slashes its way across the sky. Interior Huck shuttle. Day. The Huck pilot looks through a scope, searching for pods. Everything is fuzzy, unclear. He smacks the device and curses at it. Smacks it, and it stops working. Exterior forest. Day. Pete and Wendy watch as the alien ship flies past.
I wish Dad was here.
Tink makes her trademark tinkling sound, and Pete's arms jerk up, and his hand points off to the left. He looks at his arm, shocked, like it doesn't belong to him.
What are you doing?
I'm not doing this.
Wendy grimaces, then marches off in that direction. Exterior, Captain Starkey's landing site. Day. Pete and Wendy emerge from a dense thicket into the clearing where Starkey's pod landed. They look at each other, then run to it. The hatch is open, but the pod is empty. Damn! A groan from behind the pod. It's Captain Starkey, on his back and out cold. He's banged up, but the open wounds he incurred when his pod crashed are closed and healing. As Wendy approaches, 3 glowing tinks crawl out from underneath his jacket and fly off. Wendy's training kicks in and she evaluates his situation.
How long were our pods here before they opened?
They opened as soon as they touched down. Why?
Are you sure?
I was awake the whole way down.
Wendy examines Starkey's stomach, chest.
Broken ribs, possible internal injuries, but these...
She opens his jacket and lifts his shirt. Dozens of fresh scars on the way to being healed.
These have been healing for at least 3 weeks.
She touches the scar. Her fingers come back sticky. Wendy puts it all together, grabs Pete and spins him around.
Hey!
She talks directly to the tink.
I don't know why you're helping us, but thank you.
Tink glows, then makes her tinkling sound. Wendy takes a chance and strokes Tink with her fingers. The glow dims and is replaced by what can only be singing.
What's going on back there?
Exterior, pod landing site, night. Wendy and Pete drag Captain Starkey into the camp. Dante and Lily run up and help.
Did anyone else come down with him?
Exterior, fireside, night. Wendy draws plans on the ground with a pointy stick.
The cave might hide us for a while, Wendy, but if they find us...
We're sitting ducks out here.
My specialty was survival training. They taught us that hiding is a slow way to die. We need to lead them away from the cave, set up traps for them, cover our tracks, make it seem like we're a long way from where we actually are.
I don't think they have good tech.
Spaceships, man.
I saw it. A huge piece of junk, like they stole pieces of a dozen ships to build it.
They're parasites?
They board ships, kill everyone, and take what they want. That sounds like piracy to me.
Pirates, then.
Dante brings the conversation down to a whisper.
Everyone who teaches them how to run things.
Lily thinks on that.
Doesn't make any sense. They should leave at least one person alive to help them work the ship.
They did.
They turn and see Starkey watching them groggily.
You saw him, Pete. You saw Captain Smee.
Echoes of terror play across Pete's face. Tink glows and the terror dissipates into calm. Starkey addresses Lily.
You're Lily, right?
She nods.
I saw you kick that big kid's butt once. You were a real tiger.
A smile from Lily.
You're good in a fight, but how good are you at tracking and trapping?
She answers with a bigger smile.
Good. Ugh. If they have a plan for us, then we'll sure as hell better have at least 2 for them.
Interior, the carnage, night. The junior science officer approaches Captain Huck.
Medical officer reports progress on the human virus, but requires more test subjects.
Scout ship pilot increases scanning zone and focus on thermal signatures.
At your command.
Exterior pod landing site, night. Dante and Lily kick dirt into the fires, put it out.
Fire's a beacon, so only light them during the day when heat signatures are harder to spot.
The darkness is my friend.
It's always darkest before... Pete? What's that on your neck?
Pete, Wendy and Lily exchanged worried glances.
Come over here.
Pete doesn't move. Wendy sits down next to Starkey.
It's a native life form that has...
Holy shit, get it off him!
It's not hurting him.
Starkey tries to free himself from his litter.
You can't possibly know that.
Wendy places a calming hand on Starkey, then opens his shirt to show him the scar from a nasty gash in his chest.
You're alive because of them.
What?
They got you out of your pod somehow, and were able to heal your injuries. Well, some of them anyhow.
Starkey slows his roll, starts to remember. Flashback. Starkey point of view. Pain. Light through cracked windows. Smoke filling the pod. Hundreds of tinks crawling in on him. The sound of his screams. Back to scene. Panicked. Starkey feels the back of his neck. Phew. Nothing. Then he examines his wounds for the first time. He's still in bad shape, but his injuries are healing.
Imagine what we could do with those things back home.
Tink glows brightly, angrily.
No! That would make us no different than the Huck.
What?
Pete smirks at Wendy.
Name dibs.
Lily looks over at Wendy, confused. Wendy motions later.
I think that's what the Tinks call the aliens, sir. And I don't think they're from this planet.
Tink glows and makes tink-tink sounds, and Pete spasms. Flashback. Disjointed scenes flash by in his head. The Huck spaceship lands. The sky is thick with tinks, a vibrant species. A tink latches onto the Huck warrior, who screams. Huck warriors killing tinks by the thousands. Medical officer experimenting. Tinks dying painfully. Back to scene. Pete yanks himself out of the memories, tears flowing.
What did you see? What did it show you?
Pete backs away, his emotions still fresh.
The Huck killed them.
Killed who?
The Tinks, they tore them apart, performed experiments.
He breaks down and cries.
They made some kind of...
Insert. Tink eye view of a biolab. A Huck scientist injecting one of the tinks with some sort of liquid.
I think it was a virus. It killed billions.
Insert. Dead tinks litter the ground all over the planet.
Genocide.
Starkey realizes just what a dick he's been. He looked at Pete with sorrow in his eyes.
My mission was to prevent Earth's past from infecting our future. First thing I try and do is exploit the locals. Pete,
Pete turns to him, eyes red.
I'm sorry. Please tell it that I'm sorry. They'll have nothing to fear from humanity.
Tink glows slowly. Pete listens.
She, it's a she. I mean, she's a she. Her name is Belle. Almost all the survivors are female.
Lily and Wendy smirk, high-five each other.
Okay, she, then.
Starkey looks to Lily. Interior, Huck base, day. Captain Huck strides through the base, which is so janky that it makes his spaceship look like the Taj Mahal. Interior, medical experimentation wing, day. Captain Huck enters. He surveys the workspace. The walls are crammed with cages of all sizes. Inside each is a different creature from the planet, including tinks. In one, a young human boy, barely breathing. Captain Huck walks over, raps on the cage.
Is it dead?
Nearly so, sir, but not from my work, I fear.
Captain Huck glares at the medical officer. Smaller than a normal Huck warrior, the medical officer approaches, bends low in respect.
You look so fragile. They expire from any number of causes before any virus can kill them.
Perhaps we have little fear from them after all.
Human children are fragile, my lord, but adult humans are capable of.
Captain Huck backhands me, sending him flying.
Are you the standard by which humans shall be judged?
Smee struggles to stand, wipes blood from his mouth.
I meant no disrespect, sire. I only wish to state that judging all humans by a single remaining specimen would be unwise.
Captain Huck bares deadly fangs.
5 ships have arrived. We have defeated all of them with their help.
He reaches into the cage and snaps the boy's neck.
Of our single remaining specimen.
Huck smiles at Smee, fangs bared.
How would other humans feel if they discovered your treachery?
Smee closes his eyes, devastated by shame.
They would kill me.
Captain Huck turns back to the cages, taps on one holding the dead boy.
And so might I, if you were unable to open the gate.
Exterior pod landing site day. Pete and Wendy play with the kids while Starkey watches several tinks spread their sticky healing goo on his scars. He gently picks one up and places it on his neck. The tink opens its wings, flits up, and lands back on the scar it was working to heal.
You're right. I'm married and you're a bug, so it probably wouldn't work.
Interior cave night. Lily and Pete trek through distant parts of the cave. Tinks floating all around provide light.
We have shelter and water, but the rations will only last another week.
Plenty of edible plants. We'll figure out protein later.
They climb on.
You think we can take them in a fair fight?
They're 7 feet tall, Lily.
Valdez was twice my size.
Val wasn't covered in needle-sharp spines, and he didn't have fangs or razor-sharp claws.
Pete opens his shirt, reveals the scars.
This was done by accident. You're no match for them. None of us are.
Pete walks off, but Lily has a fire in her belly.
Speak for yourself, buddy boy.
Interior cave day. Dante watches as Lily argues with Captain Starkey. Starkey shakes his head, and that's the end of it. Lily stomps over and plumps down next to Dante.
What's that all about?
I told him we need to know more about the aliens, and I should do what I'm here for, scout.
He said no?
Duh, he thinks it's too dangerous, which is stupid.
You want me to go to talk to him?
I don't need a boy to fight my battles, Dante.
Lily leaves Dante with an "I do not understand girls" look. Exterior forest day. Lily runs through the forest. She's a machine and barely pauses to check her wrist comp. 12 kilometers. She runs on. Exterior forest night. Lily is in the upper canopy of the trees. She's looking up at the stars, sees a white dot glide across the sky. The gate. She looks at her wrist comp. It reads 28 kilometers. In the distance, the Hook shuttle appears. She leaps down under the cover of the trees. The shuttle cruises past, slows, lands 100 yards away. Lily chases after it. Exterior, shuttle landing site, night. The shuttle looks as poorly built as the carnage. Lily watches from behind a tree as the Huck pilot emerges. A monster. She backs into the shadows and hides beneath a tree just as the pilot turns and looks in her direction. The pilot walks over, looks around. Lily holds her breath. The pilot shrugs, unzips his flight suit, pees on the trees, Lily's fear morphs into a smile. Monster P. Pilot finishes, zips up. Before he turns away, he sniffs the air again. Deeply. The humor leaves Lily's face. Pilot grimaces, turns, and heads towards his ship. Lily exhales, uses her wristcomp to take photos of the pilot and his craft. The pilot walks past the shuttle and into the forest. Exterior, Huck Base, night. The pilot walks towards the Huck Base, hidden in the forest. Interior, Huck Base, night. The pilot approaches Captain Huck.
Captain, I have completed my scan of sectors 1 through 7.
And
No signs of humans or their technology, sir.
Pilot shrinks under the glare of his captain, but then he catches a familiar scent in the air. Exterior, Huck Base, night. Lily slides along the outer wall. She records everything. A side door opens. Lily dives behind a huge pile of garbage. Out walks the medical officer and an armed guard. They carry something heavy in a plastic bag.
Ugh, fresh air.
Human stench is vile.
It worsens with death.
They toss it on a pile. It lands next to Lily. The two Huck go back inside. The bag slides down the heap towards Lily. The plastic splits and the scarred and bloody arm of a small child flops out. That's when Lily notices that what she thought was garbage is actually a huge pile of body bags. Terrified, Lily runs off into the forest. Interior, medical experimentation wing, night. Captain Huck and the pilot stand in front of the cage with a dead human boy in it. The pilot puts his face to the cage, breathes in deeply. He looks at Captain Huck.
This smell was in the forest.
Interior, shuttle landing site, night. Captain Huck at the tree line. He inhales deeply. There it is. Human scent. Exterior, forest, night. Lily runs through the forest. Interior, Huck Base, night. Captain Huck pulls up a topographic map on his computer. He plots his location, then traces a line past the shuttle and in the direction from which Lily came. Exterior, forest, day, night. Lily runs and runs. Series of scenes. Lily stopping, out of breath, then continuing. Startled animals out of all sorts leap out of her way. Lily setting traps, and more traps. Lily using the trees instead of the ground. Lily eating native fruits, drinking from streams. More running. Exterior, pod landing site, day. Lily enters the clearing. It's empty. No blood, no disaster, but no people either. Then she sees tracks leading away into the forest. About to follow, she notices something about them. They're well worn, begging to be followed.
On mute.
Sorry. This might fool murderous space aliens, but it won't fool me.
Dante and Wendy emerge from the forest. Wendy approaches Lily and slaps her across the face.
You left us.
Lily takes the slap without question.
Should we sit and wait for the monsters to find us? Besides, Starkey would have tried to stop me.
Wendy puts a hand on Lily's shoulder.
Don't ever do that again, okay?
They lock eyes. Something passes between them. Is it a one-way thing or a connection? Neither seem sure, and Lily blinks first.
We don't have much time.
Interior, cave, day. Dante and Wendy slide down the entrance. Lily tumbles after.
We thought something ate you.
Something almost did.
She hands her wristcomp to Starkey. He plays the video. Doesn't like what he sees.
These things can smell us a mile away, and they got my scent.
You could have led them here.
Lily looks at her feet.
How far is their base?
Maybe 30 clicks.
Shit.
If they follow my scent, they'll be running in circles for a while. About us a few days at best.
How many are there?
The base isn't very big. No support structures, no sentries.
Pete walks up, his tink glowing.
It's an outpost. There aren't many left. They were...
Pete spasms, experiencing more of the tink's memories. Flashback. Scenes are quick and jumpy in his mind. A squad of Huck commandos at the Grinner Lake. Several Grinners attack and eat Huck commandos. Grinners follow survivors back to the base, tear it up. Huck fight and die. Grinners go down one by one. Chomp! A Grinner tears off one of Captain Huck's arms. Back to scene. Pete clears his head, smiles.
Grinners ate most of them and wrecked the base. Damaged the ship too.
They're stuck here, just like us.
And they need Smee to operate the gate to get home.
But it's tied to Earth.
I'm sure Smee kept that bit to himself to buy time.
Wendy puts it all together.
Oh my god. They know it's connected to Earth. That's why they let us go.
What?
They killed the tanks with the virus.
Captain Starkey looks at the group of children.
We're petri dishes.
And Earth Technology's pirate booty.
Thomas walks up, tugs on Dante's shirt. He points at Hammond, who is doing the potty dance.
Okay, buddy, let's go.
Dante walks off with Hammond.
Lily, you've seen the enemy and you've got the training. What's the plan?
Lily smiles. Finally a chance to show her stuff.
Delay, deceive, defend, and disarm.
What?
Something's chasing you, employ the 5 Ds. Delay, deceive, defend, disarm.
That's 4.
I saved the best one for last.
Starkey sighs.
The one that humans are best at.
You start by using their own strengths against them.
Lily holds up a canteen and calls out.
Anybody have to pee?
Throughout the cave, half the kids raise their hands. Interior, Keystone's Bridge, day. Smee continues his effort to understand the ship's security. A Huck commando walks over, eyes the controls as if deciding what might be of value.
No, these are gate controls.
The guard shoves Smee and stomps off. Smee slams his fist on the console in frustration, which dislodges a hidden slip of paper. He looks around, picks it up, pockets it, and continues working as if nothing had ever happened. Interior, Captain's quarters, night. Smee enters, locks the door behind him. He removes the slip of paper, reads it. It's Pete's handwriting. Insert. Haptic control bypass. The instructions he was looking for. Just 5 steps to it. Bam, bam, bam. A Huck guard beats on the door. Smee looks for someplace to hide the paper, gives up, and shoves it into his mouth. Bam, bam.
Open door, now.
Smee chews and swallows the paper, then opens the door. The Huck guard rushes in, grabs Smee by the neck, and slams him up against the bulkhead.
You hide something.
I had to take a shit. Wanted some privacy.
The guard considered, then drops me.
Privacy. Weird.
The guard leaves. Smee catches his breath, then smiles. Interior, cave, night. Starkey awakes in pain, his breathing rapid, shallow. He clutches at his stomach. Something isn't right. A tink detaches from the cave wall, flits over, lands on his stomach, and excretes sticky goo. Exterior, forest, night. Wendy, Pete, and Lily walk through the forest, each with several canteens. Their feet are wrapped in leaves.
You sure this is the way?
Pete's tink glows and he feels queasy.
Definitely.
Lily opens a canteen, splashes human pee next to a tree. Exterior, cliff edge, night. Pete, Wendy, Dante, and Lily stare down at a Grinner Lake.
What's that in the center?
Eggs, I guess.
Lily considers.
I could really do some damage with one of those things.
No way, you saw those things.
Yeah, well, I need the Huck to see them, preferably from the inside.
Lily turns and forages in nearby bushes.
What are you doing?
Lily comes out with a handful of branches. She strips off the branches' bare leaves.
I'm going to teach you rookies how to delay and deceive.
100 feet above them, a cloud of tinks observe them silently. Exterior, forest, night. Series of scenes. Lily shows the group of older kids how to rig a snare traps. Lily sets up a trap wire near Grinner Lake, then another. Lily draws a plan in the dirt, gives direction to Pete. Pete runs through the forest. Pete stops to pour a small bit of urine, covers it. Back to scene. Exterior, cave, night. As the group approaches the cave, Pete's tink glows bright.
What?
He listens to whatever tink is communicating. He gets it, grabs Wendy, and runs for the cave entrance. Interior, cave, night. Pete, Wendy, Lily, Dante, and Fisher watch as a dozen tinks crawl over Starkey's stomach. They appear agitated. Wendy leans down, nudges the tink out of the way, places a hand on Starkey's belly. It's red hot.
Lily, get me a wet cloth.
Is he okay?
I was hoping Tink healing goo would take care of his internal injuries.
She places the wet cloth on Starkey's forehead.
Captain, wake up.
Starkey awakens, groggy. His voice is weak.
You need to open the gate.
They all look at each other.
We're not on the ship, sir.
I'm dying, Pete, not delusional.
Wendy covers her mouth with her hand.
You've got a fever, but it's not...
The tinks have been crawling all over me for hours. I'm getting worse.
He coughs up blood, winces in pain. Wendy wipes the blood away, but lets her tears flow freely.
I don't have a real plan for you guys, I'm sorry.
Starkey looks at Pete.
Captain Smee is smart. He might figure out how to operate the controls, but he can't open the gate without the control key.
He removes a thick ring, hands it to Pete.
The base, so they have a shuttle. Steal it. I don't know how, just do it. Open the gate.
What about the virus thing? Don't they want the gate open so they can kill Earth with it or something?
Open the gate. Warn them. Give humanity its last chance.
He looks at Wendy.
You're in charge, Wendy. Find a way to keep these kids safe.
He looks at Lily.
Guys, give us a minute.
The group walks over and sits out of earshot. Starkey coughs again. The pain doubles him over.
It takes off. I need you to put that base out of commission. Make them understand that fucking with humanity was a big mistake. Kill all if you can.
Lily nods, serious.
Good. There's one other thing. You're not gonna like doing it.
Over with Wendy, Pete, Dante, and Fisher. Lily joins them, her face dark. Later. Lily finishes securing Starkey to a litter. Her face is stained with tears. Dante, more grim than normal, collects the rinds and scrapes off leftover fruit and vegetables. Lily looks at him quizzically.
Mask, no.
He looks at Starkey, who is pale and unconscious. Exterior, cave, night. Wendy, Pete, Dante, Fisher, and Lily work together to carry Starkey out of the cave.
When I become a man, I put away my childish things. I always thought that meant toys and stuff, but now...
They set the litter down.
We don't have the luxury to be kids anymore. When we get back, we're going to war.
Wendy nods, leans down, kisses Starkey on the forehead. Pete, Lily, Dante, and Fisher lift Starkey's litter and head into the forest. Exterior, forest, night. Captain Huck follows Lily's scent through the forest. He walks through the thick brush and out into exterior, Huck base, night. The clearing behind his own base? He roars in frustration. Interior, Huck base, night. Captain Huck stomps in and approaches his battle tech.
How many Huck remain?
Planet-side personnel, the crew on board the Carnage, and those on the human ship totals 17 members of the race, sire.
So few.
Captain Huck cannot contain his anger. He slams a fist into the nearest wall, denting it.
Issue a general call.
The Battletech nods and bows.
We're going hunting.
Interior, Keystone Bridge, night. Captain Smee, asleep on the hard floor, is awakened to a kick in the ribs.
We are called to base. Come!
Smee gets up, limps obediently behind the guard. Exterior, space, night. The shuttle detaches from Carnage. Heads for the planet. Exterior, forest, night. Panting, Lily, Pete, Dante, and Fisher set the litter down.
Farther.
Pete looks around. It's so dark.
I'm not sure.
Why don't you ask Belle?
It doesn't work like that.
Friggin' make it work how it works. Jeez.
Pete shrugs, taps Belle to wake her up. She glows faintly. With intense concentration, Pete tries to communicate. Insert images of the path he wants, of grinners. It only takes seconds for Belle to get the message, and she glows more and more brightly. In response, individual tinks arrive and land on tree after tree, illuminating the path. Pete smiles, reaches back and strokes Belle. Her glow strobes with happiness.
You know that's going to freak Wendy out, right?
Exterior, Huck Base, night. The shuttle lands next to its twin in the clearing. Interior, Huck Base, night. The Huck guards deliver Smee to Captain Huck.
You will find the nestlings and bring them to us.
Smee hesitates, then shakes his head.
I will not help you hunt children.
Captain Huck roars, grabs Smee by the neck, lifts him high with his one good, very strong arm.
You will help, or you will die.
Smee tries to speak, can't. Captain Huck releases him.
If you kill me, who'll open the gate?
Respect grows in Captain Huck's eyes. Without warning, he uses a claw to puncture the fleshy part of Smee's upper arm. The blood flows and Smee grabs at the wound. Captain Huck licks the blood from his claw.
You possess a limited amount of blood. Hope that I do not grow fond of its taste.
Exterior, canyon day. Pete cries silently next to the litter holding the lifeless body of Captain Starkey. Lily, Fisher, and Dante approach from deeper in the canyon, in the direction of the lake where the Grinners live.
It's ready. Let's do this.
Dante picks up a bag of food scraps. Then all four of them lift the litter and trudge towards the lake. Exterior, near the lake, day. Fisher watches for Grinners while Dante and Pete place the last few rocks on a shallow grave. Pete stands.
I think I'm supposed to say something, but I don't know.
Pete wipes away tears as Lily arrives. She's hard as nails.
Done.
Pete shakes his head, motions for Dante to empty the food scraps over the grave to hide the stench of death. Lily places a gentle hand on Pete's shoulder.
The only cure for grief is action.
She motions for them to follow her. Exterior, forest, day. Lily runs through the forest, the others close behind. They come to a clearing and she slides to a stop. The others pull up, panting.
I've set traps all around you. Do you see them?
Pete, Dante, and Fisher look around. Nothing seems odd. Dante takes a step towards a suspicious-looking shrub. Snap! A hidden trap snares his ankle, drags him up into the trees.
The Huck are carnivores.
She tosses a stone at Pete's feet. Another snare snaps. Pete leaps away, only to land on another one. Snap! Up into the trees he goes.
They stalk.
Lily stalks towards Fisher.
They leap.
She leaps at him, but he holds his ground.
They attack.
She pushes Fisher. He stumbles backwards against a tree. The impact sets off another trap that wraps itself around him, tying him to the tree.
But I bet they've never even seen a snare trap, or a deadfall, or a man trap.
We get it. Can you cut us down now?
Lily dances around them.
What's in it for me, huh?
She pokes Dante with a stick, laughs, then relents and cuts them free. Pete and Dante crash. Oof.
Oof.
Pete struggles to his feet.
So what's the plan?
Interior cave day. The cave is empty save for a dozen tinks who glow enough to make the place safe. Wendy slides into the cave with a bushel of alien fruit and veggies in a makeshift carryall. She sits down, unloads the fruit. Most of it is different than what Pete brought in. She frets, then has an idea. She points to the nearest tink.
You.
The tink glows a pretty shade of purple, but stays attached to the wall.
You heard, Starkey. I'm in charge now. Anyone gives me trouble, I kick their, asses.
The tink glows, but doesn't move. Wendy softens.
Please, I need your help. I don't know if this stuff is safe to eat.
The tink considers, then flits over. Wendy and the tink look at each other.
Well, can I call you Violet?
Nothing from the tink.
I still can't believe I'm talking to a bug. Look, Violet, how does this work if you're not attached to me?
Nothing from Violet. Wendy decides on a tactic. She picks up an ugly black fruit and moves it towards her mouth. Violet doesn't move. She picks up a spiky fruit. Violet doesn't react. Next, a pretty pink fruit. She moves it close to her mouth, and Violet flies up and lands on the fruit, positioned so that Wendy can't take a bite. Wendy smiles.
Thank you, Violet.
She smashes the pink fruit, bites into the black one. Yum. Behind her, Ahmed 11 and Maggie 11 approach.
The cave is really big. Without tinks, we'd be lost.
Did you find anything?
I found 2 more exits.
Hey, I found one of them.
We found. One is by a big pool of water with things swimming in it.
Things?
They look like big fishes or something. Fishes with arms.
The tinks wouldn't let us get very close.
If the tinks don't like them, then we don't like them, okay? I just wish that...
She looks down at Violet, then on a whim picks her up and places the tink at the base of her neck. But Violet isn't interested. She flits away into the cave.
Maybe you need a bath.
Rude.
What? Y'all stink.
It's alright. Listen. I need you to get everybody back here. I have jobs for all of you.
Maggie and Ahmed high-five and run off. Wendy smells her armpit. Phew. Then she looks at her fruit and it smelled good. She shrugs and rubs it under her arms. She smells again. Not bad. Then she hears a child scream. Exterior, Huck Base, night. Pete, Dante and Fisher perch far up in a tree near the edge of the Huck Base. Lily drops down from farther up, silent like a ninja.
I swear I can make it all the way back to the cave without touching the ground.
Why don't we do that then?
If they think we rely on the trees, they'll torch the forest. Trees are for emergency escape only.
So why are we here?
She points to key spots on the base.
No sentries, no surveillance. They lack fear and caution.
They have guns and spaceships.
Lily concedes the point.
Another shuttle means reinforcements, which isn't good.
You haven't answered my question.
We're going to make the lions know what it feels like to be hunted.
Lily smiles and scrambles down the tree towards the ground.
Who talks like that? Does she always talk like that?
Interior Huck Base, night. Captain Huck stands at the center of his group of commandos.
Do not confuse weakness with stupidity. Human nestlings are far smarter than nestlings of the race.
A particularly enormous commando chuffs.
Istia, too.
Captain Huck backhands him violently. The commando slams into the bulkhead and collapses. Next to him, what appears to be a metal bolt head shifts position. A tink in disguise.
You will not eat the nestlings. They are incubators for the virus we shall unleash on the human world.
He walks over to the commando, places his foot on its chest.
Humans are extremely fragile. Minor injuries disable them. You will capture them without harm. Clear?
The commandos salute him, but Captain Huck is looking directly at the big commando.
Am I clear?
The enormous commando nods, unwilling to make eye contact.
We hunt at first light.
Exterior Huck Base Day. The commandos exit the base and march towards the forest. Interior Huck Base Day. Captain Huck watches everyone via commando cam. Exterior forest canopy day. Lily watches from the trees as the commandos fan out. On the ground, the first commando steps into the forest. Snap! A snare trap drags him away. The other commandos take on a defensive posture as they edge slowly into the forest. Snap! Another trap is sprung. This time a commando is struck in the head with a thick log. He's out. The commandos stop. Some back up. Snap! Another commando out of action. The remaining commandos turn back towards the base. Above, Lily nods in satisfaction and scurries away. Interior Huck Base Day. Captain Huck's viewpoint is that of the hanging commando. In rage, Captain Huck slams his fist on the table, but then he sees something in the canopy. Camera point of view, feet, rope, treetops, and movement. He zooms in. There, a human moves through the trees. Exterior Huck Base Day. Captain Huck exits, climbs into a shuttle, and lifts off. Exterior Treetops Day. Lily jumps from branch to branch. Then the sky above her opens in a storm of turbulence. Above her, the shuttle parts the trees with its jet blast. Lily hesitates, and that's all Captain Huck needed. A net launcher shoots out and captures her. Exterior Forest Day. Pete, Fisher, and Dante meet up in the thick of the forest.
How many traps you set?
I lost track.
Did you at least stick to the pattern?
Pete nods, then looks around.
You think she did, Jess?
They exchange worried looks. Fisher breaks the tension.
She's a big girl. Let's go.
Dante grunts and squeezes out a huge fart.
Jeez.
What? I thought you said let one go.
Pete waves away the brown stench.
Which end did that come out of?
A few more like that and you'd kill us before the Huck gets a chance.
Pete motions for them to follow him into the forest. Interior cave night. Wendy and the kids weep as Pete, Dante, and Fisher enter. Pete runs to her.
What happened?
Interior cave pool night. Wendy leads Pete and Dante to an open area of a dozen yards from the clear water. Wendy stops them before they get any closer, then points near the edge of the pool. On the ground, a single small shoe.
Oh shit. Ham!
Pete moves, but Wendy grabs him, shakes her head. She tosses a pebble into the water. Pete prepares for a monster attack, but it doesn't come. Instead, a dark tentacle rises from the water. Everyone backs up, and the tentacle seems to sense them. Then it begins to change. In less than a second, it morphs into a perfect shadow of Pete. Pete steps back and the tentacle morphs into a Wendy shadow. Then more tentacles emerge and form a crowd of shadows. Pete stares at the shoe, sees blood on it.
Are you sure he's...
Wendy points to a far wall. Fresh red blood marks where Hammond met his fate. Pete's anger rises. He lifts a rock the size of his head and heaves it into the lake.
You fucking monster!
The rock splashes and a goddamn nightmare shadow beast explodes from the water. It roars and reaches out with shadow tentacles. Everybody screams and runs for it. The creature doesn't pursue. It's anchored to the lake bed. Interior cave passage night. The kids run screaming, but Pete stops. It takes a second, but he turns and heads back to the pool. Interior cave pool night. Pete stares at the pool, his expression a three-way battle between sadness, fear, and fury. Bell glow pulses faster and faster. Pete begins to calm, then realizes Bell is affecting him. The fury returns and he grabs at his neck. He pulls at Bell, but she's still dug in.
I need to feel this!
It's a battle, but Bell finally lets him go. Pete shudders as a wash of emotion hits him. He looks at Bell tenderly.
I appreciate what you've done for me. But I need to be me now.
Bell makes her musical tinkling sound, glows warmly.
I need a favor. Can you find Lily?
Bell's glow fades, then reappears as she flits away. That done, Pete turns back to the pool. His fury returns, and it fuels every cell in his body. His eyes settle on Ham's shoe. He takes a step towards the pool, and a tentacle rises up from the water. Pete freezes. The tentacle stops, drifts around, looking for movement. Pete moves slowly, but every movement draws the tentacle. Then more tentacles appear. But Pete won't give in. He moves more slowly, and it works. He's almost to the shoe. Then his foot kicks a pebble, and the tentacles turn directly at him. They shift shape, looking like Pete's shadow. They float around him, testing, taunting, deciding. Then they morph into wicked claws. Crack! A rock hits the wall on the far wall on the opposite side of the pool. The tentacles stop, then race towards the sound. Pete looks over and sees Wendy. She motions with her eyes to get on with it. He slowly bends down and picks up Ham's shoe, and suddenly another tentacle appears right there. Whack! A large rock slams into the tentacle.
Hey! Hey, over here!
The tentacle hesitates, then focuses on Wendy. She throws a larger rock at it, scoring a hit. Pete backs away. The tentacle shifts focus back and forth between them.
Screw this. Run!
She heaves a handful of rocks into the pool, momentarily confusing the creature. And Pete bolts. He leaps and dodges, barely avoids every tentacle strike. He lands next to Wendy as the creature rises out of the water, roaring like before. Wendy backs away, but Pete holds her.
It's okay. I think it's kind of stuck there, like a plant or something.
The creature flails and screeches and roars, but finally gives up and sinks back into the water. Wendy looks at Pete. Notices that Bell is gone. Her eyes fill with newfound respect. Interior Medical Experimentation Wing, day. Lily is strapped to a dissection table. She struggles to free herself as medical officer works nearby.
I tire of killing nestlings.
I don't speak monster.
Medical officer clears his throat, bows to her.
Apologies.
Lily recoils at a monster speaking English. Medical officer injects something into Lily's arm.
Human speaking, I learned from...
Me. I'm Captain.
Lily's eyes dart over and turn into laser beams of disgust.
I know who you are.
Medical officer scans Lily with a device, then leaves.
I'm not a traitor,
Coward, then?
but still alive.
Feel free to drop dead at any time.
Smee rushes over, puts his mouth right next to Lily's ear.
What you think you know is wrong.
You're helping the monsters.
That's what they think. But I've been learning everything I can so that we can defeat them.
Lily narrows her eyes.
Yes, I could be lying to you.
Set me free. Set me free, and I'll consider believing
Smee lowers his head.
you.
Tell me where your captain is.
Keep dreaming, creep.
If I can get to him before the Hook do, he can help me save Earth.
Lily keeps her voice even so as not to betray any emotion.
Captain Starkey will never help you.
He would if he knew what I know.
And what's that?
Smee examines Lily's hands.
My secrets keep me alive.
Lily looks at the area where she was injected.
I'm not afraid to die.
Smee drops her hand, his expression sad.
Your death is the least of my worries, kid.
Medical officer enters. Smee's eyes never leave Lily.
You'll need to use pain on this one.
Interior cave day. Pete places Ham's shoe in a small niche in the wall.
That was stupid. You're the only pilot we have. Our only chance to warn Earth. And you risked your life for a shoe!
Pete turns to Dante, walks over and shoves him. Dante, instantly furious, lunges at Pete. Pete feints left, trips Dante. Dante goes down. Dante stands up and then it's on. Pete is ready for everything and anything. None of Dante's blows land, but all of Pete's do. It's over quickly. Dante, pinned and bleeding.
I was supposed to keep him safe. And he died.
Pete stands, offers a hand to Dante. Dante swallows his pride, reaches up and takes Pete's hand.
I'm sorry. I wasn't...
It's forgotten.
Dante smiles, shoves Pete in a friendly way.
It was stupid, though. You know that.
Pete shrugs.
You remember the way back to the base?
Duh.
I need you to deliver a message.
Exterior waterfall night. Pete and Wendy stand at the waterfall's edge. Pete puts his hand on Wendy's shoulder.
I sent Belle out to find her.
Lily won't tell them anything.
I don't know that.
A brief silence hovers in the air between them.
We have to abandon the cave.
I know. While you were gone, a bunch of us went out and found other places to hide.
Pete nods.
I think we can use that shadow concert thing, though.
Pete smiles.
You know, I hate to be the one-upper, but...
Exterior canyon night. Dante looks down on the lake. The Grinners call home. Exterior forest night. Hug commandos move carefully through the forest. One finds a tripwire, alerts the others with a hand signal. It steps gingerly over the tripwire. When his foot touches the ground, another trap springs. A log swings down, smashing him against the tree. Dead. The other, Huck, look around nervously. Interior shuttle night. Captain Huck pilots the shuttle, keeping an eye on the video feed that shows a view from the Huck-mounted camera. He sees the commandos getting smashed to death. He seethes, but focuses on flying. Flash! A flash catches his eye in the distance. Human sign.
Field Commander, send 3 of your number to these coordinates.
Exterior, Captain Starkey's grave. Dante watches the shuttle as it banks towards him. He pockets his flashlight, picks up a rock, throws it in the lake and runs for his life towards the forest. Behind him, the rock splashes, and the lake erupts with 6 Grinners exploding out, looking for food. They catch Dante's scent, scramble to follow it. Interior, Huck Command Center, night. The place is empty except for Smee, who watches everything going on from a bank of monitors. He sees Dante's flashing light from Captain Huck's view.
Smart.
Exterior, 1,000 feet above the waterfall. Night. Belle hovers, surrounded by 1,000 of her sisters. She tink-tink-tinks. The others tink back. An argument. Belle zooms around, clearly aggravated. One larger tink arrives, clearly older. It looms over Belle and she backs away deferentially. The larger tink, their queen, tink-tink-tinks at Belle. Belle becomes agitated and flits around, glows to emphasize her feelings. The queen glows strongly. The other tinks back away. Belle won't back down. She glows in return, brighter. Half of the other tinks choose sides, and then the glowing battle begins. It's like fireworks on the 4th of July. Interior cave, night. Maggie runs in, tugs on Pete's shirt, urging him to follow. Exterior cave night. Pete, Wendy, and the rest of the kids exit the cave. Maggie points up. They see the silent fireworks.
Won't the bad guys see that?
Exterior forest canopy night. Dante leaps from tree to tree. Far below, grinners pursue, thrashing and snapping as they try to find their quarry. Dante smiles, pours some pee from his canteen. Then he sees the Tink fireworks.
Oh shit!
Interior shuttle night. Captain Huck sees the fireworks too. Interior Huck Command Center night. Smee watches the feed through Captain Huck's shuttle cam.
Oh, stupid bugs.
He walks over and detaches the Tink hiding in plain sight on the wall.
Time's up. Go.
The Tink shakes off the paint Smee covered it with, glows, and flies off. Interior forest night. The group of Huck tromp through the forest. Above the canopy, Dante watches the Huck commandos pass far below. Down on the ground, one of the Huck catches a scent. It looks up, sees Dante, takes aim with a pulse rifle, and crash! The grinners smash through the trees and mow down the Huck. Chomp! 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 Above in the canopy, Dante looks down with the biggest shit-eating grin ever. The grinners swallow, but they aren't full. Dante opens a canteen and pours some more pee out. Down on the ground, the pee hits the ground and the grinners go apeshit again. Above in the canopy, Dante howls to get their attention. Then he continues his journey. Below, the grinners follow. Interior medical experimentation wing. Night. Captain Smee enters and sees medical officer is on the ground, a knife in his side. And Lily is gone. Kaboom! Lily smashes Smee in the head from behind with a metal pipe. Smee goes down, out like a light.
That's for Captain Starkey.
She swings for the fences, landing a hard blow to his back.
That's for humanity.
She drops the pipe, then kicks him savagely in the side.
And that's for me, you son of a bitch.
From behind, without warning, Smee's Tink flies in and latches onto the back of Lily's neck.
Hey!
Lily grabs it, but it's already dug in. It glows bright.
Ow!
Lily stumbles, collapses. Then a dozen Tinks, all hiding in a dozen places, appear. Interior cave passage, night. Pete speaks to the group.
I don't know what's going on with the Tinks, but the Huck know where we are, so we all have to split up.
Several of the kids begin to cry.
Everyone has a buddy and a map. Once you get to your destination, stay there. One of us will come for you by tomorrow, I promise.
Isaiah begins to cry.
No tears, Isaiah. You're my buddy. The rest of you take care of each other.
The kids hug each other, then head deeper into the tunnel.
How are you going to save Lily, Pete?
Pete fiddles with Starkey's gate ring on his finger.
I'm not.
What?
Remember what Starkey said on launch day? Can we handle the loss of those closest to us and still move forward?
He shows her the ring.
Captain Starkey gave this to me. It activates the gates.
But how will you...
I have to steal a shuttle.
How are you going to fly an alien ship you've never even seen before?
Pete looks uncertain, but praised by Starkey echoes in him.
Because I can fly anything.
Wendy looks at him, dumbfounded.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Hey, I can because I have to.
The weight of humanity on his shoulders. He kisses her on the cheek and runs off. Exterior forest canopy, night. Dante in the trees at the edge of the wide clearing. Dead end.
Big, and I should have zagged.
Below him, the grinners are in a frenzy. They chew at the base of his tree. The tree begins to creak, so Dante backtracks. The grinners tear after him. Exterior forest, night. Pete runs full speed through the forest. He looks up and sees the Tink fireworks. The lights spin and whirl. Then Captain Hook's shuttle drives right through them. The Tinks evade, then reform, this time as a group. Pete doesn't have the time to think. He only has time to run. Exterior cave, night. Captain Hook exits the shuttle. No trace of anyone. Click. A sound from nearby. Captain Huck reacts, dashes for the sound, and finds the entrance to the cave. Then stops. He's no dummy. He scans for sign of a trap. Nothing. He enters and... Interior cave, night. Captain Huck slides clumsily into the cave. He leaps to his feet, pissed. He turns on his flashlight. The room is filled with signs of humanity, but no humans. Another sound echoes. He listens, then follows. Exterior, 1,000 feet above the waterfall. Night. Most tinks hover behind Belle, glowing as one. The Queen's glow is subdued. She's lost the contest. Belle does a victory flip, then zooms off into the night. Exterior, forest, night. Dante pauses, tired. Then he sees a glow in the trees ahead of him. He crawls towards it and finds Lily draped across a large limb, out cold. Then he notices the tink on her neck.
Fantastic.
Lily's eyes blink open. She sees Dante and smiles. Then everything clicks. She looks around. She sees she's 100 feet above the ground and the grinners are biting on her tree.
Holy crap! How did I get here?
Dante points to her neck. She remembers.
No way. No way.
That's when 100 tinks light up the canopy around them. One flits over, latches onto her sleeve, and lifts her arm.
No way.
I'm gonna have to say yes way.
Interior medical experimentation wing, night. Smee wakes up in pain. A tink crawls on his chest.
Did you get her out?
The tink glows.
Thanks.
He sits up, winces in pain. The tink glows and tink tinks.
Now I'll be fine. I deserve everything she dished out.
He stands, sees the medical officer on the ground. He mouths and hobbles out. Exterior, canyon, night. The 3 commandos approach the dark canyon. They see the mound that is Captain Starkey's grave. They approach timidly. Oops, tripwire. But it doesn't snap around a foot or slam them into a tree. It just launches a pebble into the air. All 3 watch the pebble arc into the darkness. All 3 hear the whoop as it hits the water. All 3 are instantly chomped by a frenzy of grinners. Exterior, forest, night. Pete huffs and puffs, but keeps going. His eyes catch a glow in the canopy up ahead. From behind, Belle flies up and latches onto his neck.
Jeez, Belle! I thought we agreed that we...
She glows in a complex pattern and Pete slides to a stop. He listens carefully and hears the roar of grinners nearby.
Oh, thanks.
Pete scrambles up a tree and follows the glow. Interior, cave passage, night. Captain Huck squeezes through a passage, no fare in him. He sees a shadow ahead and stops. He looks around. Is he pursuing or being led? Another step trips a wire. Behind him, an avalanche of boulders and stones tumbles down, blocking his exit. He roars at his foolishness, then pulls out a communicator.
Field Commander, report.
Nothing.
Field Commander.
Still nothing. Angered, Captain Huck extends his claws and uses them to climb up the wall like a spider. He continues on. Exterior, field, night. Wendy and Isaiah make their way through tall glasses. A sound ahead of them makes them stop. The growls of 2 Huck commandos heading their way. She curses under her breath, grabs Isaiah by the hand and turns back the way they came. Then she catches a shadow in the sky. She follows it with her eyes as it heads towards the commandos. With the commandos, from above 100 dark tinks fly in at high speed and dive bomb the commandos like a hail of steel ball bearings. The commandos are pulverized under the onslaught. Back with Wendy. Wendy motions to Isaiah to stay put, then heads back towards the commandos. She finds them, dead and covered with tinks. The tinks aren't moving. Wendy sees Violet among the tinks. She picks her up. At her touch, Violet glows. Then the rest follow suit. They were just stunned. Wendy sighs, then hugs Violet close. Violet wriggles free, climbs up, and attaches to Wendy's neck.
Oh.
Interior, huge tree, night. Angela and Moira climb inside a hole in the base of the tree that would dwarf a redwood. They clamber up, and find a natural ledge. It's so dark. They hug each other, both very scared. A light appears from below. It's a tink. It flits up and perches next to the girls. Its glow is faint, but enough to calm them. Exterior, rushing river, night. Zuckerman and Ahmed, perched in a hidden cutout. Exterior, forest canopy, night. Pete drops down between Dante and Lily.
Hey!
Pete notices the tink on Lily's neck.
Tink's picked a side. You give her a name yet?
We just met. Figured we get to know each other first.
Hey, cool kids, we still have monster problems.
Pete looks down at the ravenous mouths chomping at the tree.
They still look hungry.
Yeah, 3 aliens was just an appetizer.
You okay?
Lily looks worried.
They injected me with something.
What?
I don't know. They strapped me down and...
How do you feel?
Like I'm catching a cold?
Belle and Lily's tink glow and tink, tink, tink.
What are they saying?
Who knows? Tink's gonna tink.
Monster problems.
Right. Okay, here's my plan.
Interior, cave pool, night. Captain Huck enters. He sees the blood on the far wall and smiles. An obvious ruse to misdirect. As he steps towards the pool, tentacles rise up in the shadows and take on the form of Huck himself.
Huck Commando, show yourself.
The shadow Huck mimics every movement Captain Huck makes. He takes a step forward.
I said show.
The tentacle whips out and latches onto the Captain Huck. His surprise is quickly replaced by rage. He draws his blade and slices through the tentacles. The shadow monster erupts from the water in the frenzy. Not what Captain Huck was prepared for. He battles the creature, but there are too many tentacles. They envelop him, and the shadow creature drags him under. Exterior, Huck base, day. The sky begins to lighten as the night comes to an end. Peter enters the clearing. He sees the shuttle. Before he can move, Captain Smee steps out from behind it. He's armed with a blade.
I need that ring, kid.
Pete shakes his head. No.
I'm going home.
This is home, Smee.
The Huck already know about it. More will come, but if we escape and destroy the gate behind us, we'll buy Earth the time they need.
You're a coward.
I get that a lot. Look, if you open the gate and the Huck release the pathogen they've developed.
A cascade event happened after your ship departed. Earth's biosphere is toast. We don't have a choice. This is our last stand.
Smee takes this in, then lowers his weapon.
I have a plan.
Of course you do.
And we don't have much time.
Of course we don't. What's the plan?
Can you teach me how to fly the shuttle?
Smee grins.
Of course I can.
Interior, cave pool, day. Sloshing water calms. Maggie and Fisher emerge from the crevice high in the cave wall. They look at each other, then begin to climb down. As they reach the cave floor, Captain Huck lunges out of the water. He's bleeding and covered in tentacles, but alive, and he's pissed. He leaps at Maggie and Fisher. Exterior, field, day. Wendy and Isaiah stand amid a cloud of tinks, all of which glow in amazing rhythm. Isaiah now has his own tink embedded in his neck.
Everybody know what to do?
In answer, the tink begins to glow brighter and brighter. Exterior, Forest canopy, day. Lily and Dante move through the canopy. Below, the grinners grow more and more angered. Dante misses a branch and nearly falls. Lily is there. He nods thanks, then locks eyes with her. She sighs.
Pull your jets, big guy. I don't swim that way.
Dante smirks, nods, and they continue on their way. Above the canopy, hundreds of tink descend straight for them. Exterior, sky, day. Captain Huck's shuttle zooms across the sky. Strapped on one side, the bodies of Maggie and Fisher. Exterior, Huck base, day. Pete flips switches, pushes buttons. The shuttle powers up.
That's it. The rest is steering and foot pedals. Simple.
Does this thing have weapons?
This is a shuttle, not a fighter. The Carnage has a pulse laser, but that was damaged when they landed.
Along with their star drive.
Smee looks at Pete in awe.
How could you possibly know that?
Pete examines the controls, figuring them out.
I think you know.
Smee looks at Bell on Pete's neck. Then a sound catches his ear. Far away, but growing closer. Engines.
Almost time to go, Pete. But for the moment, I need you to duck down and stay down until I tell you.
He shoves Pete down, then climbs up as if he'll enter the shuttle himself.
What are you doing?
Captain Huck's shuttle crests the treetops and sets down across the clearing.
Something very uncowardly. Now stay down until I tell you.
Shmee climbs down, blade in hand. He sees the two kids strapped to the captain's ship. They're still breathing. He unsheathes his sword, holds it up in challenge.
And here I thought you were a coward.
I'll get that lot, hey, Charlie.
The Hook insult has the intended effect, and Captain Hook roars his offense.
You kill sleeping adults and defenseless nestling. Who acts the coward?
It's more than Captain Huck can take. He leaps out of the shuttle and unsheathes his own swords. It's bigger and sharper. Smee gulps, then speaks just loud enough for Pete to hear.
I'll buy you as much time as I can. Make sure our people remember what I did here today.
Captain Huck raises his weapon. Smee charges, screaming. They both swing. Smee slides under Captain Huck's blade and runs to the other ship. He leaps up and cuts free Maggie and Fisher. They fall to the ground. The impact jars them awake.
Go to the trees.
Captain Huck pivots and snarls. Smee meets him head-on, doing his best to meet every strike. But Captain Huck is bigger and stronger, and he forces the battle to the forest edge.
You strike like a medical officer.
A horrible insult. Captain Huck roars, but his roar is cut short when a blade pierces his shoulder. Behind him, medical officer yanks the knife out.
My apologies, Captain, but I can't bear to harm any more.
His words are cut short by Huck's blade through his belly. Smee attacks. Captain Huck knocks the blade from Smee's glass, grabs him by the throat, and lifts him off the ground.
Not a coward, just a human. I wonder which is worse.
Smee tries to speak, but can't.
You wish to beg for your life, human?
Captain Huck loses his grip. Smee gasps in air.
Pete, go! Now!
Interior, Pete shuttle, day. Pete presses keys. The shuttle powers up and begins to rise. Exterior, Huck base, day. Captain Huck watches the shuttle lift into the sky. He roars and tosses Smee 30 feet into the tree. Smee falls like a ragdoll. Captain Huck turns to climb into his shuttle, but he's hit in the face by an open canteen. Liquid splashes onto him. He looks at it, smells it. He makes an unpleasant face. Then he hears the rumble. Smash! The grinners crash into the clearing and ram his shuttle. Captain Huck is thrown aside as the grinners thrash about. Up in the air, Pete looks down and sees the chaos. Then he sees Lily and Dante in the trees waving at him. On the ground, Captain Huck lands hard, gets up and takes in the sight of 3 enormous monsters. For the first time, Captain Huck expresses fear. Flashback. Captain Huck battles a grinner. His arm gets chomped off. Back to scene. Then he realizes that he's got human scent on him. The grinners realize it too. Captain Huck runs off. Runs for the base. The grinners give chase. Interior shuttle day. Pete presses various buttons. The ship bucks and kicks. Then he gets it and steers the ship into the sky. Interior Huck base day continuous. Captain Huck runs down a corridor. The grinners are slowed, but just barely. They thrash their way in, wrecking everything in their path. Command room. Captain Huck grabs a pulse rifle and keeps running. The grinners are close behind. Medical experimentation wing. Captain Huck runs in, grabs syringes filled with green liquid, then dashes for the side exit. Exterior Huck base day. Captain Huck smashes through the doors, runs for his ship. He leaps up into the shuttle cockpit. He powers up and begins to rise as the grinners bash their way out of the base. The grinners leap for him, but the ship is too high. He presses buttons and chases after Pete. The grinners give up, then see Smee on the ground. Before they can move, a cloud of tinks rains down on them. They don't do serious damage, but the grinners feel it. They snap at the cloud of tinks, chomping dozens of them. From inside their mouths, lights shine out. The grinners shriek in pain, snap open their mouths, revealing hundreds of burn marks. That, plus being machine gunned by tinks, forced the grinners to escape off into the forest. Moments later, Wendy and the rest of the kids literally fly in over the treetops, each one carried by dozens of tinks. Exterior forest canopy day. A cloud of tinks descend on Lily and Dante. One latches on to Dante's neck, and the rest grab onto their clothing. Exterior Huck base day. Wendy and the kids land, followed closely by Lily and Dante. Smee groans and Wendy heads for him, hate in her eyes.
Pete! He was helping Pete!
Wendy swallows her anger. She addresses the cloud of tinks.
Please help him if you can.
Several tinks fly over. One latches onto Smee, while the others crawl all over him. Exterior space day. Pete's shuttle heads for the gate. Behind him, Captain Huck's shuttle closes the gap. Interior Pete shuttle day. Pete pushes buttons, finally hits the ones that show his proximity scanner. Almost too late, he sees Captain Huck's shuttle heading right for him.
Shit!
Exterior space day continuous. Pete's shuttle janks left just in time to avoid a broadside by Captain Huck. The two ships execute amazing moves as they get closer and closer to the gate. Captain Huck is a born warrior, but Pete is a natural pilot. He's too good. And Captain Huck realizes that he's not going to catch the puny human. Captain Huck changes his plan and heads for the carnage. Pete sees this and races straight for the keystone. Exterior Keystone day. Pete's shuttle docks with the keystone. Interior Keystone's bridge day. Pete enters the bridge and stops cold. The dead bodies are gone, but the place runs red with blood. He's paralyzed. Again. Interior the carnage day. Captain Huck stomps into the bridge and begins the process of bringing the ship's drives online. Interior Keystone's bridge day. Pete walks slowly towards the command console. He stops at his father's pod. Emotion clouds Pete's vision, but he shakes it off. He touches his father's nameplate and is back in action. Pete removes his ring and places it in a hidden receptacle. The lights on the console come to life and the gate cycles. Pete looks out the main viewport and sees the engine on the Carnage glow. He turns and runs deeper into the ship. Interior Keystone day continuous. Pete runs through the corridors, through the mess hall, past the childcare, past the medical wing, past flight training, everything that got him to this point. Then he comes to a large pressure door. The words above it read, Flight Deck. Pete nervously types in the access code. Bleep. Wrong. Interior, the carnage day. Captain Huck watches the gate activate in a kaleidoscope of swirling color, which quickly comes into a mirror-like surface. Through it, you can see the Earth. The carnage isn't the Millennium Falcon, but it suffers many of the same glitches. After many attempts, he's ready to go. He removes the syringe he took from the medical wing, looks at it, and smiles with feral satisfaction. As his claw hovers above the thrust lever, he sees something out the viewport he doesn't like. Exterior, Keystone Day. A sleek ship maneuvers around Keystone. A fighter. Inside, Pete is all business. He's bringing all the systems online. Interior, the carnage day. Captain Huck roars his defiance and jams the thrust lever. Interior, fighter, day. Pete sees the carnage coming towards him at full speed.
Damn, that hunk of junk is fast.
Pete presses a button labeled railgun. He takes aim and fires at the carnage. The carnage weaves a complex pattern as it races towards the open gate. Pete fires over and over. The carnage is just too unpredictable. It banks through the gate and, bloop, is gone. Headed for Earth. Pete fires up his engine and races after. Exterior, space above Earth, day. The carnage, bloop, emerges from a twin gate floating in Earth's orbit. The space surrounding the gate is filled with 100 ships of every type and size imaginable. Sleek, deadly fighters, attack corvettes, juggernauts bristling with weaponry. The carnage has to dodge and weave to avoid collision. Interior, the carnage day. Ultimate warrior or not, Captain Huck recognizes that every single ship is more than a match for his own. He grabs the syringe, loads it in a high-tech missile casing, and fires it at Earth. Interior, Pete Shuttle, day. Pete Shuttle, bloop, emerges from the gate. He clicks his communicator.
Earth Command? Earth Command, do you copy?
Nothing. Not even static.
Earth Command, this is Pete Darling. Please come in.
Nothing. Pete sees the carnage fire a missile towards Earth. He rams the afterburners full throttle and gives chase as the carnage peels away and heads back towards the gate. Then he sees the armada closing in. Then his communicator splutters to life.
Thank you. This is Earth Command. Welcome back, Pete.
Recognition on Pete's face.
Val?
That's Commander Valdez to you, kid. That alien ship pulling a Zack on you, man?
Pete smiles, but then he's back to business.
Val, that ship!
Pete sees the armada and is momentarily stunned.
We're on it, Keystone 2.
Pete throttles back and watches as a slender Corvette-class ship moves to intercept the missile. Its guns come to bear on it.
Negative. Earth Command, intercept. Do not destroy. That missile contains some sort of pathogen designed to kill humans. We have infected back on the morning and will need that to develop a cure.
A brief moment and the guns on the Corvette stand down.
Roger that, Keystone 2. We will intercept package. You want us to handle that pile of junk before it gets to the gate?
Pete banks hard and gives chase to the carnage.
No, sir. I'd like the honor of blowing that son of a bitch out of the sky.
Happy hunting, Keystone 2.
The carnage enters the gate. Keystone 2 is close behind. Behind him, the armada moved towards the gate. Exterior, gate, day. The carnage, bloop, emerges from the gate and heads straight for the planet's surface. Bloop. Pete's fighter emerges and follows. Interior, the carnage, day. Captain Huck roars, pilots his course. Interior, Pete's fighter, day. Pete fires on the carnage and finally scores a hit. Interior, the carnage, day. The ship shudders. Alarm klaxons shriek. Captain Huck executes a crazy avoidance maneuvers. Exterior, Huck base, day. The last of the kids fly in via Tink Airlines. They all laugh and hug each other, except Wendy, Lily, and Dante, who watch the sky and see the gate activate and two ships headed right for them.
Into the forest! Now!
Everyone dashes into the forest. Dante and Lily drag Smee behind them. The ship comes in fast. The carnage barely manages to slow down and slam hard into the base. Explosions occur all over the building. Pete's ship swoops in and hovers above the wreckage. Interior, Pete's fighter, Day. Pete's thumb moves over the fire button. Belle glows softly and makes her lovely tink-tink singing sound. Pete gets it. His anger subsides as he disarms the railgun. Exterior, Hulk base. Day. Pete's fighter lands and he climbs out. Wendy and the others emerge from the forest. Dante sees the fighter, and his eyes light up.
Cool!
Dante runs past Pete to admire the fighter. Lily and Wendy are bemused.
Boys!
They bust out laughing. Pete rushes over, hugs them, then looks at Lily.
How do you feel?
Fine. A little sniffles, but...
Don't worry. The Armada.
Armada?
Pete points up towards the gate. A dozen ships already dot the sky around it.
My message got through.
They turn and see Smee limping towards them. Lily and Wendy rush over to support him.
When the Huck attacked my ship, I tried to send a warning to Earth. They damaged the transmitter as I sent it. I never knew if it got through.
Exterior gate, Day. Ship after ship. Boop. Emerge from the gate. Exterior, Huck base, Day. Captain Smee weeps with relief.
What did your message say?
Captain Smee looks to the sky. Everyone else does the same.
Arm yourselves.
A sword blade erupts through Captain Smee's chest. He drops like a sack of potatoes. Across the clearing, Captain Hook. He's just injured. But still deadly, he throws the sword. The children scream at the sight of Captain Hook. Except Pete. Pete grabs the sword from Captain Smee's dead hand and points it at Captain Hook.
We lost, pirate.
Captain Hook marches over, pulls his sword out of Smee.
This battle, but the Hawk Empire owns a dozen worlds and...
We will free those worlds.
Belle tinks, then detaches from Pete. Pete shakes his head, finds anger deep down, then takes a step towards Captain Hook.
After I free this one.
Pete leaps and strikes. Captain Hook defends, counters, goes on the offensive. For him, this is fun. Pete is forced back. Slice. He takes an injury to his shoulder. Strike, parry, strike, feint, strike. Pete is driven back against his ship.
Once we steal your technology, our empire will be more than a match for...
That's when Dante attacks. He leaps out from the fighter and slams into Captain Huck. Captain Huck drops his sword and reaches for Dante. Dante wraps his legs around Huck's neck, grabs each of the Huck's nostrils and uses his weight as leverage to pull back with all his might. Captain Huck roars in pain. Wendy and Lily leap up and grab Captain Huck's arms. Captain Huck barely notices and tosses the girls away. Pete lunges his sword at Captain Huck's belly. Captain Huck backs Pete's aside, reaches up and yanks Dante off him. He holds Dante by the neck. Dante gasps for breath.
The race will sing songs of this day. My name alone will power them onto...
A cloud of glowing tinks bombard Captain Huck from all directions. Head, knees, groin. He drops Dante. Pete drags him away. Captain Huck thrashes and claws at the tinks to no avail. They just keep coming, but he won't go down. Belle flies up, latches onto Pete. Their communication is instant. True symbiosis. Pete leaps up, barrels into Captain Huck's knee. The big alien topples. 100 tink latch onto Captain Huck. They glow, brighter and brighter. His flesh begins to smoke. He roars, and Pete is there with Smee's sword. He jams it through Captain Huck's mouth and into his brain. Captain Huck is no more. The tinks continue to glow bright, continue to burn. Wendy approaches, holding an injured arm. She sees the blade, the burning flesh.
I think they can stop. He's definitely dead.
Pete watches them burn through the carcass of their enemy.
They need this to heal.
Dante and Lily walk up, each nursing bruises. They see Captain Hook being reduced to ashes.
Cool.
Behind them, a transport shuttle and 2 fighters set down.
Wendy, get Lily onto the medical ship.
Wendy nods and accompanies Lily to the transport. Men jump out and help them. Others rush out and care for the kids.
I bet flying that fighter was cool.
Pete touches Belle. She glows gently.
If you like that sort of thing. Me, I think I prefer the real deal.
As if on command, dozens of Tinks fly over and latch onto Pete's clothes. Pete salutes, and then launches into the air. Fade out. Super over back 1 week later. Fade in. Interior. Earth Command Ship. Day. Pete, Wendy, Lily, and Dante wait while Admiral Barry, 50s, reviews the report.
So, these Tinks are key to stopping the Hook and saving your lives?
Yes, sir. We'd be dead if it weren't for them.
I'd be dead. My Tink killed me before the docs had a chance to.
Admiral Barry chews on this.
This is their planet, sir. We're the invaders here.
It's not like we tried to kill them, young lady.
You've only been here a couple of days, sir.
Admiral Barry bristles.
Their terms are pretty simple, sir. Every colonist gets a Tink. That's non-negotiable. And once we figure out how the Hulk propulsion system works, the Tinks want to hitch a ride to every planet we settle.
Panspermia.
Dante reacts to the words, puts a hand on Pete's shoulder.
Something to say, son?
Name dibs, sir.
Excuse me?
The name the Tinks gave us. Pan. It's close to the word you use.
And what does Pan mean?
Bravery.
Friendship.
Honor.
Family.
One word for all of that?
It's more of a concept, sir. The Tinks trust us. We should trust them.
What does panspermia mean anyway?
That life didn't originate on a single planet. That life everywhere is related.
And what do we get in return?
No more sickness. Longer lives, probably.
And flying. Didn't anybody tell you about the flying?
Admiral Barry raises a single eyebrow. Exterior hundreds of feet above the forest, day. Pete, Wendy, Dante, and Lily fly above the forest with the aid of their Tink friends, big smiles on their faces. From off-screen, Admiral Barry flies into view. His smile is bigger than the other 4 combined. He can't contain himself. He whoops and hollers, performs an impressive barrel roll, then flies up into the clouds.
I think that means we have a deal.
The kids perform their own aerial acrobatics and then chase after Admiral Barry. Fade out. Fade in. Interior Science Lab day. A dozen scientists work at stations. On one, a digital representation of a Tink rotates. In walks Commander Valdez, 40s. You can still see the young man and his features, but there's also something else. Is it time, experience, or a sharp edge? He approaches Dr. Redmond, 60s, who had a dead Tink on an electronic scanner.
You have something for me, Doctor?
Yes, Commander.
She casts the monitor to a 3D hologram.
Tinks are definitely artificial.
They're not alive?
Oh, they're living creatures, but someone made them. Look.
She's the cellular level, focuses on a cell wall. There it is. Some sort of code.
Might be a signature or a part number. I have cryptography working on decoding it.
Commander Valdez stares at the code.
You told the Admiral you think these tinks were specifically designed for us. Is that right?
Dr. Redmond nods, points to the data on multiple screens.
The symbiosis is too coincidental, too easy, too perfect.
Computer,
A ding notes the computer is listening.
play debrief of Pete Darling. Reference final battle. Huck threat.
A recording of Pete's voice plays.
And he said, once we steal your technology, our empire will be more than a match for. And then Dante jumped on him.
Who do you think he meant?
Earth, I guess.
Computer, end playback.
He walks over to the viewpoint. Morning hangs in the distance. But that's not what he's looking at. He's looking at the stars. His brows furrow, and that sharp edge now looks concerned. Fade out.
Woohoo!
Go, Tim.
Well done.
We did it.
Excellent. Doing yeoman's work,
Let's
Justin.
have a round of
Amazing.
applause
Excellent.
for all of these
Well
fine
done.
folks.
Wonderful job, guys.
Woo.
Janet, thank you for extending the time for this.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem at all.
Hope you guys all enjoyed it like I did.
Yeah, this was great fun. Thank you.
Fantastic.
That was so much fun.
So,
Agreed.
For having
Great
us.
story.
It was
Great
fantastic.
story. Well done,
Um,
both.
Janet, where are you?
I enjoyed dying for the cause.
Died well.
That was so rad. That
Died
was,
very well, Jason.
Sorry.
thank you.
Sorry
Thank you.
about
I loved
Wiggum
it.
was barking. I had to get him off the patio, which is
That's
At the
okay.
end
I'm like, is that a dog?
was-
yeah.
It
He was
wasn't
like
a dog.
barking at me
Grinner.
while I was talking.
It was a grinner.
Okay, so we're gonna have a bit of a Q&A for Tim and the cast. If anyone or one you just want to, lavish them with praise, that's okay too. Feel free to. You can either put it in the chat or you can just jump in.
Oh, there's Janet. You sorry, you were off to the side. I couldn't even see you on my screen. I thought you took off.
No, no.
Janet Clark.
Oh,
So-
me. No, I'm here.
So the original idea for PAAN came from Janet. We were talking about another script, and we got to talking about doing a feature together. And she said, it was literally like, what about Peter Pan in space? Like,
Basically.
the story just, it was literally, the story just started forming, and one thought led to another, and everything just came out. I think we did a pretty good job on it. I'm pretty happy with it. And
Yeah,
I'm very happy with your performances. Thank you so much. My daughter's over here, and she already knows that when all of this is done and the computer's shut, I'm probably going to weep just a little bit.
Oh.
Very proud, man.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much.
It was fun, Tim. It was a blast. I had fun.
So Tim,
I got to be Aussie.
Tim, what are you going to do with this recording?
I will attach it to the PAAN website and then pimp that script out like I seem to do all the darn time.
Have on, buddy.
Push, 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 push. Just gotta keep it
Well,
going.
you gotta hustle, unfortunately, these days,
Yeah.
This is gonna get made. There's no doubt. It's too
Yeah,
good.
that was pretty
It's
great.
gonna get made.
Sorry,
Thank you.
Fiona decided to join us.
It deserves it. Oh, sweetie.
It's another grinner. It's a baby grinner.
Oh, no.
We were lucky enough. We were lucky enough through one of Janet's friends who online who happened to be at the time a Disney artist, storyboard artist. And if you go to the PAAN website, I'll send that link out. There's a storyboard art section. You can see the stuff that he did. Also made the super awesome video, the really action adventure-y piratey one. And he made that out of the kindness of his heart after reading the script and blew me away.
Beautiful work.
Tim, I'm
So,
gonna have
I'll
to. I'm gonna have to head off because it's just coming up to midnight now.
Oh my
But,
God.
we're gonna.
Everyone applause for Justin, please.
Outstanding.
Amazing job.
It was a great pleasure to play with you all, and fingers crossed for whatever comes next.
Well,
Yes,
you're all
and
certainly
if you,
all
if
part
you
of the
want
PAAN.
to start reading me bedtime stories, I'm quite okay with that.
Right?
Me too. Me too.
Because I'm like, yeah, that was good, man. I'm like, I want to watch. I want this. Yeah.
You're all very kind, and I'm very tired and emotional.
You
So I'm
sound
gonna-
tired.
I'm gonna
He's
say
knackered,
goodbye.
man. He's knackered. He's knackered. He's got to go.
What's the
Bye.
going rate to hire you for bedtime stories?
I have to say one thing. Between JJ and Dan and any things that I had with them, it was so hard not to just go pause in the middle of it and go, okay, I'm for the crack up laughing because you're doing it so well, or I'm just in awe. So I just have to say, and the rest of you guys, especially Bar, like,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
sir,
Oh, yeah.
okay, okay. I
Nice.
mean, just the gravelly. Okay, I have to say all of you were phenomenal with my non-acting
No,
self.
Oh, you were Lily. Come on.
I
were
promise
amazing.
you, I
You
was
were.
Dan and JJ. I was just like, I'm trying to keep my face straight. I'm trying not to like laugh. I'm
I
trying not
have
to
to
smile
say
hard.
how impressed I was with JJ's Brit accent. Very nicely
God,
done.
so good.
Well done, sir. I'm
It's
impressed.
natural.
JJ.
It's
It's
real. He's
natural.
actually an Aussie.
It's natural. No, I'm not actually Australian. I was adopted by my friends in Australia.
Oh, I
So
thought
when
you were. Oh, because I was going to say no credit at all for you then.
Say
If
what?
it's Aussie accent.
No,
I'll
it
tell you
just-
what, I may not be a director, but I'm certainly a fantastic fucking casting director.
Yes, you
Because
are.
I pick
You
all
did a
the
great
best.
job.
Oh yeah, you picked the right one for me.
You did
Yeah,
a great
thanks for
job.
the
Everyone was
opportunity.
amazing. Yeah.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thank
astounding.
you for letting us read the story, man. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Thank
Don't be silly. It's the honor is all right here.
All right, guys. I'm going to
Thank you
stop
so
recording.
much.